The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What is up? It is time for Cowboys StoryLine. I am Nick Eatman, and it's Thursday, December 21st. Getting a lot closer. Getting closer to that Cowboy game against the Dolphins on Sunday. Also getting closer to Christmas. If you're getting excited about that, I know a lot of people that are getting excited about Santa Claus coming to town and all that. Of course, the Cowboys got to go out of town, go take on the Dolphins. We know how that is on the road. Can they figure it out? Can they figure out these road issues? Are they a good team? Are they a bad team on the road? Are they somewhere in between? We've already gone through that road earlier this week. We're talking that game. Talking football movies, best football movies. That's been our theme of the week. Got a lot of good answers so far. Kind of want to keep taking a poll, and we get new callers come in, see what they think, different perspectives. Been surprised on some of the answers that I've heard on some of these best football movies. Waterboy's getting a lot more love than I thought it would. 888-855-2297 is the number to call. You can text at 817-290-3298. Let's get to the phone lines. Let's get started. We got James. He's in New Jersey.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good, James. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Two issues. One with the coaching and one with Parsons. Coaching. There's no other way they could have watched the Chiefs play the Bills and not knowing that Cook.
Yeah, I think we dropped him. Didn't hear a whole lot of that call. Sorry, I know he was waiting for a while, but did not hear a lot. Said something about the coaching and Parsons. Let's just take a stab at it. Should we move him around? Should he be playing at linebacker? I don't know. Chris, what did you hear on that? Is that what you got from that? Were you there?
That was all over the place. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
It was sounding very digital.
Yeah. Sorry about that, James. Maybe if he can call back, maybe a better line or something. I'm not sure. Let's just take a shot at it because there has been some people talking about Micah Parsons moving around. Should he be playing linebacker? Should he be playing end? Should he not be playing linebacker at all? My take on Parsons is, he obviously is great when he's rushing at different spots, and I think he's such a dynamic rusher that people have to be account for him at all times. And so that is an advantage. I think they do have versatile players around that can also play. But I think that's kind of the issue is that because of him, you're getting guys playing different spots. Sometimes they don't, hold the edge on the outside. He causes them to move some players around. It's not an easy look. And, for the most part, this defense has been really, really good. I mean, it's been a good defense. But they got to hand it to them the other night. They couldn't score points on offense, and so therefore they were behind, and they just couldn't stop the run. And then also they didn't tackle. I mean, they were in position. Sometimes they just did not tackle. And 2-yard gain turned into 7, 8, 11. And they kept moving the sticks, and so I think it's back to the drawing board this week. With some of the basics, and you better be tackling this week against the Dolphins because they'll be bringing the speed, and they'll be right at you before you even know it. All right, let's go to Irene in Virginia is our next caller. Irene.
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Morning. How are you?
Doing well. How are you? It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah. Everything.
Last week was the first time I could not get through. I tried, but I couldn't. So,
sorry.
Popular show. That's good. No, it's good. I love it.
Yeah.
Quick shout out though. I was listening on Monday of last week, and I was thinking, I haven't heard Joe in Stanford in a while, and I was like, maybe me calling more often if not letting him in. And then he gave me a shout out, and I'm like, you know what? It's mutual, buddy.
You guys, this StoryLine family is growing. Love it. It's great.
All right, so a couple things on penalties, how to earn them and how not to earn them.
Okay.
So I got some flack on Twitter because and even in my crowd that I was watching with on Sunday for not at all appreciating Zach Martin's
right.
whatever. I know you got to stand up for your quarterback, but not to that level. Just go get in his face. I don't want the Andy Dalton thing where nobody goes and nobody cares.
Right.
But the best way to get revenge and then have that actually translate the rest of the game is you score over there and you make him really pay for that penalty. Because guess what? Zach going and hitting him didn't prevent the other guy from targeting his head later in the game.
Right.
I thought that one would get an ejection, but it didn't. Anyway, then the other one, we got Flop Master over there, right, with the DeMarcus Lawrence shove. I think you were talking the other day about they need to sit on the fumble. Somebody needs to sit and pretend they're injured. Mike and the podcast thing, instead of that, learn how to flop, man.
Right.
Josh Allen gave you a master class. The people who get the calls are the ones that fly in the air. There's too much pride there. Like, just earn a call. You know?
I know. I mean, like, you hate that, you know, because it's not really the integrity of the game is kind of a sacrifice. But everyone else is doing it. It's kind of like the picks, you know, a few years ago, setting picks at receiver, you know, in the open, you know, running routes and picking other receivers. Everyone else was doing it other than the Cowboys. I'm like, you have to do this. And I think you're right. You have to sell calls. You hate it, but that's part of it. So. Yep,
exactly. So I don't know how to feel about this game because this was a game I was worried about. I was not worried about Buffalo at all. That clearly didn't happen. It's hard to argue against they haven't lost twice, but I don't know. There's a lot of weapons there. I'm hoping Broadus is right about their offensive line and we can take advantage. And at least maybe it's more like the Seahawks game, but it's hard to see. They have great runners.
Yeah.
More than one. It's not just James Cook.
Yeah, they bring waves, you know, and that's the thing that's tough. I mean, and now obviously Tyreek Hill is the difference maker there because I mean without him they're not as good. They showed that not against the Jets, and against the Jets they were kind of all over the place. They were real good there, but I think that they're a different team without him. But he's going to be there. He's going to be ready to go, and they just have so much depth and so much speed that before you know it, somebody's getting behind you. So they challenge you. That's why they lead the league in points, and the Cowboys are half a point behind them, but they do lead the league in points.
Yep. Well, that's all I got. Maybe this week Tyreek. We can get the Deron Bland 6th pick because I definitely thought it was coming last weekend.
Yeah,
they just didn't have.
For sure. I think there's people. Thanks for the call, Irene. There's people in Miami that you know that question. Not question. I mean, it is what it is. But when it comes to like scoring points, it's always just been who scores the most points. You know, and the Dolphins have like 31 points, and the Cowboys are like 30.5 or something like that. But you know, they obviously you know have scored more touchdowns on offense because the Cowboys have 7 touchdowns on defense or special teams. I think 7 non-offensive touchdowns. Bland obviously with 5 and. Igbenogany has the first one, and Van Der Esch, I think, scored. There may be another one in there, but yeah, they've had 7. Not that it matters at the end of the day. Just score points. You know, it doesn't really matter. All right, let's go to our next caller, Brian in Kansas City.
Good morning, Nick.
Morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, sir. Merry Christmas.
You too.
Hey, you know, so they made a little bit of a big deal when we played the Eagles about how the Eagles. This was on the TV broadcast, how the Eagles would throw their hands up in the air and do a pirouette when they were trying to get a holding call.
Oh, yeah.
I watch a lot of football that's, you know, not just the Cowboys, just a lot of football in general. And I see a lot of players do that. I think it must be a taught thing by some coaches. And I'm thinking because Mike, you know, I know you said Micah maybe runs his mouth a little bit too much at the refs, but maybe we need to teach that because I see him get held so frequently where I could see his jersey being pulled away from his body. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just not taught in Dallas, you know, what I see mostly is defensive linemen throwing their hands up in the air to draw attention to themselves when they want to get that holding call. And then I had an old-time Cowboy for you if you had a story on Kevin Gogan, brother, and I'll hang up. Have a great one.
Yeah. Thank you. Last night I did a show on it was Cowboys Crosstalk up in the Cowboys Club. Nate Newton was there, Larry Brown. They were talking about depth on the team and just how at both of their positions, I mean, they just had so much depth all the time. And offensive line was one of them because, Kevin Gogan ended up being a Pro Bowl player at other teams with the 49ers and the Raiders. And I know that he was in the Pro Bowl because he's the only guy that I've ever seen really that got in a fight in the Pro Bowl, like a big-time fight. That's just kind of guy he was. But I remember, it's funny because we're talking about Zach Martin, and Irene made that point about protecting your quarterback. Back in the 89 Bounty Bowl game with the Eagles that they maybe had bounties on players and Aikman and all that, they tackled Aikman very, very late back in the end zone and threw him to the ground after the play. I mean, it was one of those false starts that they blew the whistle dead, and they still went and tackled Aikman, threw him down. And Gogan wasn't having it. He was one of their guards. He was ready to go, and he had his hands up, was ready to fight, and he was just that kind of player. But no, I didn't cover him, so I've heard stories from people that were here to tell stories. I mean, it sounded like he was a riot, like in the locker room, and just some of the things he would do, especially from pranksters and things like that. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I know that he was a guy that really wasn't a starter, but he ended up going to another team. They just couldn't pay everyone. Went to another team, and he was a really good player. That's just kind of how it goes. All right, the first part you said about holding calls, teaching that. God, I'd hate for that to be the case, to be teaching it. I don't know if it's taught, from offensive line or defensive line. Like, all right, you get to this point, put your hands up and start yelling. I don't know. Obviously, like NBA is taking out the flop or trying to, and that will happen. I do think that what's happening too is, like it happened in the Eagles game. I think Fletcher Cox or somebody was doing that, and Tyler Smith had kind of turned him, and he put his hands up, and they threw a flag, and they touchdown to CD, and then they picked it up. I really think that upstairs, New York, I think is involved in that. I really do. That really wasn't a hold, and because it can't just be other set of eyes coming in. I think that's happening for sure. So I don't know if it's getting taught, but hopefully they'll kind of clean that part up. But it definitely happens. All right, let's go to Dennis in Pennsylvania.
Hey, Nick, just calling you. I got the call last week, talked about the Eagles-Cowboys game where we saw our man Kellen Martin return the punt, 5 yards.
Yeah.
Two quick things. Number one, I'm not suggesting this year because I know cornerback depth is at a premium, but could you ever see Deron Bland returning punts with his elusiveness?
He's got to catch it. And I mean, he's got to catch the punt, and catching an interception and catching a punt, obviously two different things. That's got to be the key. You've got to be able to catch that punt. Possibly. But the game has changed so much within the return game that it's mainly just fair catch. The teams don't want long returns. They're basically just putting it up there, high hang time. Go up there, go down, field that, go down there and cover it and a fair catch and all that. Get to midfield, it's fourth down, punt it, get it inside the 10. So you got to catch the football. And I'm not saying that he can do that or he can't, but and I want to say he has done some of that. Like they always have other returners, and I want to say he was a part of that. Like as far as kick return goes, I don't know about punt. So he's got the experience. He's made some plays. I mean, he's made some interception returns where he's had to break tackles and all that. I still think he's great jump on the ball, got a pick, run it in. I don't know if he's how elusive he is for a punt returner, but really it comes down, you got to catch the ball. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break here on Storyline. We're going to come right back with your calls and your texts. Be right back on Storyline.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
All right. Hey, guys, back here on Cowboys Storyline. Had to take a quick break here. We'll be getting it going here on the phone lines again, going back to Pennsylvania, where we got another call here from, this is Doc in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Doc.
Yes. Hey.
What's up?
Nick, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. But I have a bunch of points to point out, but most of them are all of them are positive.
Okay.
So, I was a big fan of changing to the coach, and then everybody even before this year, you weren't one of them, but most of the media was like, "Oh, well, we got to get rid of McCarthy," blah blah blah, and I was like, "What are you talking about? 12-5 years after the COVID, and you were on board with him. He's a great coach, and even now we moved on from the offensive coordinator to San Diego, and it's so good. He's done a great job. And after the Buffalo game, I was thinking, oh, everyone is going to be there for the doomsday. No. He doomsday was listening to 10 years of smiling dopey opie, everything is good, how you doing, guys? And he would have run out in front of the team and come to the press conference, how we doing, guys? And what do you mean, how we doing, guys?
I mean, that's the issue, right? That's the issue you have is Garrett. You said that like 3 times. Garrett would say, how we doing, guys? That was the problem you had, how we doing?
Yeah. I did not like Garrett. I can't even watch him on the Sunday night pregame.
Right.
Because I've been here for 1965 through to and including today. And I'm here for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Garrett was not. He was a sycophant of the Joneses, and so we suffered for that. But McCarthy is not, and I love McCarthy, and he did some mistakes, but okay, everybody has that. And
okay. All right. Thanks for the call. I appreciate that. It looks like trying to figure out what you want to say. That I think the gist of that was McCarthy. You like McCarthy better than Garrett. A lot more consistency there. Garrett was consistent, just not at a high level, and that's the thing. It was always pretty, just would say average, above average at times. He was my thing about Garrett. I thought Garrett was a good coach, but this franchise needs greatness, and that's the level and the standard that they always are weighed to is the greatness here. And I thought he was I'm not gonna sit here and bash Jason Garrett. I thought he did a good solid job, but he was here for a long time. I mean, and the message was consistent. It was a consistent message. How are we doing? That's what he did. He's a good person. He's a good, and that's who he is. He treated people with respect, and so that was his thing. And I don't think it had anything to do with the football team or whatever. But I think over time the message just wore down, and he did a nice job of getting these guys to play hard, play well, even when they were over challenged or whatever. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't good enough, and McCarthy's come in and he's taken kind of what they had here, which was a good nucleus, not great, and he's made it better, taking it to another level, and showed some consistency that we just haven't seen really in a long time as far as going and making the playoffs. I'm not going to bash Garrett. If you think McCarthy's better, I do, and that's and most people probably do as well. So, but that's the thing though. That's not what we're judging this by. I'm sorry, but we're not judging him. Jason Garrett maybe was, was he better than Wade? About the same. They went to the same level. Was Wade better than, Parcells and all that? That's not the same. It's Jimmy Johnson, because Jimmy Johnson took him to the Super Bowl. So did Barry Switzer there in '95. That's the level that you're trying to get these coaches to. All right. Jake in Illinois is our next caller.
Good morning, Nick. How you doing today?
Hey, Jake. How are you?
Doing great. So I am 62 years old, and my parents are Dutch immigrants, and my dad and I learned football while he was stationed at Reese Air Force Base up at Lubbock, which is where I was born.
Yeah.
So I've got a long history, right? So I wanted to throw a few of these. Oh, by the way, I am a first-time caller.
There we go.
Thanks,
I thought so, but I didn't. I've been embarrassed when I'd be like, "Hey, are you first time caller?" Like, no, it's my 8th time. I'm like, okay, sorry. So I'm not asking anyone.
No problem. Definitely first time.
All right, cool.
So let's go through your list. Lesser known Cowboys, maybe not so lesser, but Chad Hennings.
Mm-hmm.
As a retired Air Force person, do you know what airplane he flew?
I don't.
He flew the A-10, and he was too big to fit in it, so they had to adjust it. You're right, the Warthog.
That's Chris Beam right there. That was not me. Unless it was in Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. I don't know about airplanes and all that stuff. I'm sorry. So
no problem. All right, trivia question for you.
Uh-oh.
What unique product did Walt Garrison advertise?
Was it
I got
chewing
that one
tobacco?
too. Yeah, Skull.
Skull?
Skull.
Yeah.
I put a pinch between my cheek and gum.
I remember Randy White also doing that. Like that's what I remember Randy White, like in the '80s. But yeah, you don't see those anymore.
No, and you just mentioned my favorite player, Randy White.
Okay. Okay.
Favorite movie, Longest Yard, the original.
Longest Yard. Okay. Good.
My wrestler. This is actually one you won't know, but this was actually my stepson. He went to wrestling school in Louisville, Kentucky, and he wrestled under the name of Thunder Lee.
Thunder Lee?
Thunder Lee, yeah. He looks like Aquaman.
Oh, okay.
Beard, hair, everything. He looks just like him.
I thought you were going to say Thunder Lips. That would have been cool.
No, I don't think his wife would like that. All right. With respect to the Miami game, I believe it can go either one of two ways. I think it can be either a close win by the Cowboys or a total blowout by Miami. And I'm leaning towards this being a close win as a repeat of the Seahawks game. I trust our coaching staff, like you were talking about Jason Garrett a minute ago. I trust this coaching staff to make the changes necessary because they don't lose 2 in a row. And I think our defense is going to come out and really be fired up because of how bad they looked last week. So this is why I'm leaning towards them. They could get the win. It would really be nice if Tyreek wasn't playing, but not sure.
That's not a Christmas present you're going to get. Sorry about that. He's playing. They sat him against the Jets knowing we can win this game, and let's get him for Dallas.
That's right. Well, either way, I'm a Cowboy fan for life through the good, bad, and the ugly, and I appreciate you taking me.
All right, cool. Thank you. That's what happens when we get some of these first-time callers. You know, we have all these questions we've thrown out, these themes, and so you got to get them all in. Got to get them all in. So I love it. That's great. Greg in Sacramento, California, is our next caller. Greg.
Hey Nick, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I'm doing well. A couple of things. Favorite football movie is Rudy.
Rudy,
yeah, it's a great one. Although Any Given Sunday is kind of a close second. I really like Any Given Sunday, and I feel like Dak can relate with that. I feel like he basically was Willie Beeman when he took over for Tony Romo. But anyway, my favorite wrestler is Jake the Snake.
My favorite. That's my favorite wrestler too, Jake the Snake. Even though that's what I call my son, who's actually working with Chris Beam right now in the back. I don't know if he's doing any work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Jacob's back there. I don't know if he's pushing any buttons or doing anything, but we call him Jake the Snake too. So
nice. What's up, Jake the Snake?
What's up, man? Maybe he needs to make an appearance here later.
Do that. That'd be great.
All right. We'll see. He's a little TV
all right,
star.
So I got a couple of questions. So my first question is, I wish I would have gotten and asked this before I heard Broadus talking about it, but he was talking about it on the break yesterday, I think. But my question is about the Miami receivers and like their speed. Like I know we're kind of afraid of their speed, or I don't want to say afraid, but we're aware of their speed. I don't think we should be afraid of it, because I think there are ways of countering it. But his point was, hitting receivers off the line, or like, do you think the Cowboys will do that? Do you think Dan Quinn can like get somebody off the line to at least like, especially with Tyreek Hill, to at least bump him, with Hill and Waddle, like at least kind of throw him off the route a little bit?
That sounds good. That sounds like a great plan. The problem is they put them in motion. They also put some of these guys off the line a little bit. And if you try to get Tyreek Hill and you try to jam him and you miss, adios.
He's gone.
Adios, my friend.
Yeah.
So,
but what's better? Is it better to take that risk though, or is it better to play off of him and have him like hit you with a juke move or something, or just burn you, on the outside or something like that?
I mean, what do you think? I mean, would you rather Tua throw the ball in front of you 12 times and see if he makes a mistake, or you can get the ball out or whatever, or just take your chances on one deep ball with him 4 yards behind you for a touchdown?
Yeah, I don't like the deep ball.
I don't either. So I don't love any of this, but I'm just saying I think they can score quickly on you. I would make them do the work. I think Tua is a good, really, really good player. He'll make some mistakes though. He's not. I mean, he's still young. Yeah. He's a young player. So I have to keep it all in front of me. Keep it in front of me and make the tackle. They are fast. This is not Herschel Walker where they're going to run you over. Make the tackle. Tackle the guy. If you find him first, find him, locate him, put your hands on him, and tackle him to the ground. I mean that.
And we do have pretty fast linebackers. All these safeties that are coming down as linebackers. So I agree with you there. They got to make those tackles. And I guess that's where we have to rely on our pass rush also, right? To kind of affect Tua a little bit more and give our DBs a little bit more time.
Yeah.
To kind of make those tackles and get in position.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my second question is kind of a funny question. You guys I think you had mentioned it on your. I don't know if it was on StoryLine that I heard it, but it was somewhere where they were saying like that we should, get some sumo wrestlers to be on our line or O-line or something like that. And I know it's kind of silly, but there is kind of a little thing in that. Like, my question is, why don't players like train or practice other sports or other disciplines, right? Like, I think there was something in the off season about Micah doing like boxing training.
Yeah.
to help his hands and stuff like that. So with our O-linemen, I mean, why couldn't they train or possibly get some of these guys that work with leverage, like sumo wrestlers, or maybe like take some judo classes or something like that to learn how to, center of gravity and then what to do with that and stuff. I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to be in and help train these guys. Is that something that just they don't do, or is that a possibility? I mean,
I
think they
honestly, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it's a possibility. I'll say this: he was not a sumo wrestler, okay, but like Isaac Alarcon, right? He was from Mexico. He was a football player in Mexico, and they got him a part of the international program. Tried to get him and teach him for 3 years to try to teach him, and he's already a football player, to teach him to play the NFL style. And it's hard to do that. He's part of, I mean, they wouldn't have done it if he didn't have an exemption on the roster. So, he's been 3 years now, 2 years at offensive line. They tried defense this past year. At the end of the day, like, he's not there. I mean, just think about the USFL and the Canadian Football League and the XFL. These are non-NFL leagues. These are players that have been playing their whole life trying to get in. So there's just so many players that are just better than you just because you're a sumo wrestler or whatever. You got size. I mean, it's happened. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, the 49ers had a guy like a rugby-type player, but it's not.
Brandon Aubrey, too. Brandon Aubrey's a soccer player, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and that's probably. I mean, I would think soccer player, soccer style kicker. I guarantee you, not everybody, but I guarantee you most of the people like in the MLS could kick a field goal. I mean, that's what
it's funny. I've talked to my brothers about that all the time, and I've always wondered why NFL personnel doesn't look more into soccer.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but that's not what it is, though. Soccer, and they can kick the ball. It's right here. It's between the ears. It's the mental part of it that you've got to be good. I mean, there's probably 500 kickers out there that can kick field goals and kick it deep. But can they kick the extra point when the crowd's going, or can they kick this 37-yard field goal in the wind and all that and do what they need to do? That's the difference to me. It's the mental part of it. We saw it last year.
True.
Maher was amazing in the regular season. And then the mental part just kind of creeped in the playoffs, and he couldn't get out of it. And it's, and it happened again for him this year. So I think that's the difference between some of these, things. But anyways, good call. Good stuff. All right, let's go. Let's keep it rolling here. We got Bryce in Burleson, Texas. Bryce.
Hey, Nick. How are you, man?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for taking my call.
All right. What's on your mind?
Big fan of the show.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions regarding the run defense issue that we have. With Marquise Bell being the size he is there not any free agents out there that we could sign for these last few weeks of the season to see how they pan out, to have maybe a bigger linebacker in there? And then my second question would be, when Diggs comes back next year, do you think it would be smart to keep Gilmore on the other side and Diggs, of course, and then put Bland at the slot corner?
I don't know. I mean, they're gonna have to re-sign Gilmore, so possibly. I mean, I think you want to get as many corners as you can. That's gonna be tricky because Bland is showing that he needs to be on the field more. He's a good slot corner, but it's a good problem to have. And I've learned a long time ago, don't get ahead of yourselves there. Because you think, oh, my God, what are we going to do at this position? We got 4 guys that are good, and then next thing you know, you're getting a guy off the street to play the position because this guy got hurt, this guy got a suspension, this guy did it. You never know. You never know. So you just kind of deal with it, and you never can have enough good corners. So I wouldn't really get too far ahead. they're going to have to figure out what they want to do at corner. Do they want to draft someone? Do they want to sign a veteran? I know he's a free agent. Gilmore is. I think this is the last year of Jordan Lewis as well, his contract. So, good problem to have. What was the first part again? The linebackers. The linebackers.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's guys on the street that are in free agency with the LB next to their name. They've played it. They're available for a reason. We know this, just like Rashaan Evans was, just like Shaq Leonard was. And they've looked at these, but I mean, it's got to make sense for what they have, and you got to know the system, and you got to remember how much tweaking they do during the week, getting this game plan ready. And this is, they're still making some mistakes here late in the season like that. Where do you think a new player is going to come in? There's just not a lot of depth there. There hasn't been all off season. There hasn't been a lot of guys to kind of go from. So, you hate to say this is what it is. I think your best thing is to probably look at a younger linebacker that is on a practice squad that maybe they liked coming out of college, and they say, you know what? I mean, maybe he can help us on special teams, and maybe he's someone we can develop. So there may be some of that going on, but I don't know if there's not just a guy just sitting there that you're like, here's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and that was Shaq Leonard, and I don't know what he's doing for the Eagles, if he's helped them. I haven't seen or heard him really do anything. So, but we appreciate it. Thank you for the call. I think this is first-time caller for Bryce.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is favorite football movie.
Yeah.
Was Remember the Titans and probably Rudy. Definitely feel like we need that Dan Quinn, Coach Yost, to tell the defense they don't need to gain another yard or he'll take them all out.
You blitz all night. Yeah, that's what we're going to need to do. All right, love it. Thank you, Bryce. Good stuff. All right, let's go to Rod. He's in El Dorado, Kansas. Don't have a lot of callers from Kansas, but here's one. Rod, El Dorado.
Hey, how's it going, Nick?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Doing well. Merry Christmas.
You too.
Hey, tried to get in yesterday. Obviously, very busy with having Darren on there, but my question actually is going to you though. You had mentioned on, I believe it was Tuesday, that you didn't. If we did end up with the 5 seed, that you didn't want to see us having to go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And actually, the team that I don't want to have to play if we do end up in that 5th seed, I think we'll win that game, but the one that I'm fearful of is Tampa Bay. I feel Baker Mayfield is playing lights out right now, and they're I don't know. He feels. I just feel like he's settled into his.
Hey Rod. I gotta be honest with you. Seriously, if this football team, and this is all due respect though, if this football team is scared of playing Baker Mayfield, then they're not going to be a good football team. This isn't the team we think they are. And I hear what you're saying. He's playing well and all that, or they're winning some games. But at some point, you gotta pay the piper. You gotta beat the 49ers. You gotta beat Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy. You gotta beat Bosa. You gotta beat those guys. And if you can't beat Baker Mayfield, then you're not a good team.
No, I agree.
And you know what? Let me be fair. If you can't go beat Derek Carr and Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara and the Saints, same goes. Because that's what I said. So I'm not saying that at you. I'm saying that to my point as well. If you can't go beat those teams, then you're really not. And so either of those teams. So yeah, you have a preference, Atlanta versus them, but and I didn't mean to call you out on that. I was just thinking, I don't have a ton of respect for Baker Mayfield as a quarterback. Like I feel like if you're getting scared of playing them, then you're not going to go very far. And the same goes for the Saints. The same goes for anybody that wins that division. But
yeah.
But I think it's a process they got to switch. The NFL's got to change this rule quickly.
Yeah.
Next year, you do not deserve to have a home game if you sneak in at 7 or 8 and 9. You do not. You need a home game. You get to be in the playoffs. You don't get a home game. I treat it like the NCAA tournament. You win your conference basketball tournament at the end of the year. cool. You got in. You just knocked somebody out. You're an 11 seed. Good luck. But that doesn't mean that you get to be a high seed. You get in. That's what I think winning the division should let you do is get in, and then you should rank it best record, top to bottom. That's what I think. But I don't know if they'll ever change that. So.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's coming anytime soon. No offense taken. And you're right. It's more about preference, I guess.
Yeah, and I see that. You get into Tampa, it could be raining. We don't want that. You know what I mean? You don't want that for sure. But yeah, it could be one of those kind of nights. So, but hopefully, root for the Giants. Maybe the Giants will sneak up and beat the Eagles.
I feel like they're going to take one of them. Hey,
I think they might.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Random Cowboy from the late 70s, early 80s. Actually, a couple of them. How about Jay Saldy, tight end, and Doug Cosby?
Doug Cosby, yeah, 2 tight ends there. Jay Saldy, they. What I remember, I've met him a couple times because I remember his son John Saldy played. He tried to make the team. He was on the roster. He didn't make the team, but he was like a free agent from Texas Tech, and so he was at practice a couple times. I think in Wichita Falls, and and then Doug Cosby, I think an underrated player, made some Pro Bowls, so it's not that underrated. But when we think about tight ends and in the history of the team, it's obviously Witten and then Novacek and Billy Joe Dupree gets some stuff, but Doug Cosby kind of gets left out a little bit, as do a lot of those guys from the 80s. I mean, that just wasn't a winning era. I think Everson Walls gets overlooked too because they were just really good players in an era that they did win Super Bowl. So
yeah.
All right.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Good stuff. All right. Let's go to a text question here. We got Dan in Philly. His favorite movie, Longest Yard, the original, and North Dallas 40. Wrestlers, Bruno Sammartino and Baron Michael Cicluna. I don't know him. Classy Freddie Blassie as a manager. I do remember him. He thinks the Cowboys destroyed the Dolphins 41-13. See, I don't see destroying the Dolphins. I do see them scoring some points, and the Dolphins still scoring. Cowboys are trying to get control and maybe blow out the Dolphins, but they just keep throwing, getting touchdowns. And I see it being like that, where the Cowboys going to have to hang on, and their defense is going to have to keep making stops. But I just see it kind of being a high-scoring game like that. All right. Got any other callers on the line? I don't think we do right now. Let's see. Hold on. We got Ben in Jersey. Ben in New Jersey. What's up?
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
You good? It's first time call?
I am well. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Very
I said I wasn't going to ask again. I just felt, cool. First time. Congrats. What do you got?
Listen, I got to tell you, I am a little nervous of Dan Quinn.
Okay. Doing what?
And,
leaving or just him as a coach?
Him making adjustments game time. He makes some good micro adjustments when it came to Gilly.
Okay.
But in the back of my mind, the defensive collapse when they were in the Super Bowl haunts me.
All right.
And that he doesn't make the major adjustments. For instance, I'll give you one that I would love for them to try out. Put Micah back at will linebacker and let him roam free. Put him there, let's say, about 40% of the snaps.
Okay.
And allow him free reign. You put Sam at strong side linebacker. He can run because you got him down as a point man on kickoff or a punt. And then leave the young boy 33 in the middle. That will stiffen up your run defense, and then on passing downs, put them back on the line to rush. And then, how about this? 3 times a game, you have him rush from the strong safety position, because you're not going to lose anything because he has more speed than most of your safeties right now.
You want him back in coverage at safety?
No, I want him blitzing from a safety position.
Okay.
So now you got to count on him.
Yeah, I mean, there's different plays to do. Let's not forget that the teams can make a change on the fly too, and so they can kind of counter that too. You see Parsons way out there. I'm not discrediting that. I mean, I think they do move him around a little bit. My only point is that what you think is a passing down is not always a passing down. And it might be 3rd and 9. But if Micah Parsons is way back there, then I might run it on 3rd and 9. I mean, heck, they couldn't tackle Cook the other day. Didn't matter what it was. So it's a cat and mouse game. It always will be. And and that's but I'm with you on moving things around and all that. I appreciate the call. I've got to get.
Listen, is Parsons faster than
Curse? Yes. Yes, he is.
And he looks slow back there.
Okay. I don't know if his hips to turn and play the ball in the coverage are the same, but I think when he gets it rolling, he's faster.
First year. Think about his first and second year. They had him playing defensive back, and I wouldn't advise that.
Yeah.
But on a couple of plays, they had him as a defensive back.
All right. Thanks for the call. Let's go to Steve in New York. Steve, you there?
I'm here.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Nick? I'm sorry. Just real quick, North Dallas 40 movie.
Uh-huh.
I'm old school, as you could see. They had a lot of NFL players in that movie, too.
Yeah.
Real quick, though, I'm not a big tiebreaker person. I know there's so many scenarios and whatnot. I'm more about just win out and see what happens. So if I read correctly, if the Giants beat Philly one of these two games,
okay,
we could lose a game, win the other two, and win the division?
Yeah, you can't lose to Washington. Cannot lose to Washington.
Except Washington, yeah. You
absolutely can't lose to Washington. But, yeah, if that happens, that really changes everything. If they lose, that's going to change everything for sure. So, but, yeah, right now I think Philly has the advantage, but it changes dramatically if they lose one game. So, for sure. Thanks for the call. All right. I got a little special guest in here today. What's up? What's up, big guy? It's my son, Jacob. Get that thing over there. You're on TV, man. What's up? You good? What's your favorite movie?
Like the Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog. I think, don't they play football a little bit on the beach or something like that? Or they throw the ball around? Oh, okay, that counts as a football movie. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I've been there a couple times. You got to wait to the end for the trailers all the way. How about your favorite wrestler? I mean, Jake the Snake? Or you like some others? You had some wrestlers. Who do you got? Like Rock?
I like Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake, yeah. What about if he brought the snake out on you? No, it's good. He's hanging with Dad here today. We're about to end the show here on Storyline. What'd you think back in the back? Is Chris doing a good job back there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he works hard. We got to put him on the phone and all that. All right, it's good. All right, ready for Santa?
Yes.
All right, cool. We're ready to end this. All right, guys, appreciate that. Good call. Sorry to cut people off. Had a lot going on today. But we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to talk more movies. Got Josh Rodriguez coming on. We're going to talk some movies as well. Looks like we're going to have to brush up on this North Dallas 40 and see what's going on there. I'll make sure he's looked at that one. All right. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. Jacob, say bye to everyone.
Goodbye.
See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?